Well, hello. I'd like to welcome you to another exciting episode of Pens in Use. This is the show where I talk about the pens and inks that I've been using throughout the week. And I'm sorry, I do not have exciting travel footage this week. I spent the week in my little small town and didn't really leave my small town at all, but felt good after 2 weeks of traveling. So, let's take a look at the pens. So videos like this interest you where I talk about fountain pens, both new and old, and at all price points, I would invite you to subscribe. And hey, got a couple random topics coming up toward the end here, so maybe you'd like to comment on one of them. One of them is that I find it interesting that Evernote doesn't, I don't know why I haven't noticed this before, but typing the name, oh, you can't see it because I'm not on green screen anymore. When I type the name of my Nakaya fountain pen, Evernote tries to spell check it and correct it as Nakata, which if you know the history of the company, that's interesting. So, anyway, let's take a look at the pens. So, I have my first impression this week, although that was filmed quite a long time ago. This is an Italix Parsons Essential. Platinum President. I feel like I should have brought in the Senator President also, so that may be coming up. Visconti Mirage. Platinum 3776. The offending Nakaya. Decapod Twist. Platinum 3776 again. Whoops. Yipe. Platinum 3776 again. Central Pen 100820. I had to bring it out. Pilot Custom 823. And, with a special treat, a Pen BBS 266. So those are the pens and inks that I'm using this week. As always, I'll be recording everything in my Bomo art journal. Sorry. If you can't tell, I'm filming this late at night because things going on during the day, didn't get to it. So, I'm experimenting a little bit with camera settings. That was way overexposed, but let's see how it works now. So this is my Italix Parsons Essential. I don't know why I have such a struggle with that name. Now you see kind of what I was doing with the lighting experiment on this pen, or on this video. So let's see how it writes. Let's see if I can get the name right. On my first impression, I was asked to rotate this 30 to 45 degrees, I believe they said. So let me try that for the name of the ink. So I'm using Noodlers. Periwinkle, which is giving this pen a weird feel. This ink isn't easy to work with. In some pens, this ink is, well, it dries very quickly in the pen. You get hard starts. It's behaving reasonably well in this one, but it is a difficult ink. So I'm not sure that I got much out of rotating it, but there it is. Now you know. My next pen is a Platinum President. Recently I did a video on the Senator President, and I'm wondering if I should look at how these two compare. And I almost wrote Senator there. Platinum. This pen is a broad nib with a cursive italic grind on it. Thanks to Dan at the Nibsmith. And the ink in this is Private Reserve. Buttercup, which is a... what makes this ink difficult is it's such a pale ink. It's very hard to work with just because it's so pale. It needs to be in a broad nib. And a fairly wet nib, or else it's just about unreadable. Love my Lamy 2000 to death, but I wouldn't put it in my Lamy 2000 because it wouldn't work. This is my Visconti Mirage. I get in trouble with certain Italian viewers when I put Private Reserve inks in it, but I don't have one in it this week. The ink I have in it this week is a platinum ink. So this is a Visconti. Mirage. And it has a broad nib. The ink in it is platinum classic citrus black, which by the time you look at the high resolution, oops, you didn't see much of that. By the time you look at the high resolution writing sample, it will be darker than it appears here, because this ink darkens over time. And yeah, I've been on a bit of a yellow ink kick lately. Platinum 3776. This has the soft fine nib on it. And the ink in it is Noodler's Black Swan and English Rose. I like this nib a lot. I don't particularly care for Platinum's fine, and that's why I haven't bothered to look at their extra fine or ultra extra fine or anything. I just don't care for their feel. But this one feels good. It lays down a good line. It has a decent amount of line variation. It's just very pleasing to write with. And that's why the most expensive pen in my entire collection has a soft fine nib on it. Blame that pen that I just used. Of course, this is a little bit of apples to oranges because these aren't the same inks. So keep that in mind. This ink is Sailor, Jentle, Epinard, which seems to have disappeared from the marketplace, but I am in a much better position to deal with that now than I was the first time it disappeared. This is just an ink I always really, really like. It's just a very nice green. And the smell is just... I feel weird liking that smell, but I like the smell of it. And that's pretty much what I keep in this pen. In fact, right here at my desk, I have 2 bottles of ink. That would be one of them. And I absolutely despise that bottle. But I like the ink that's in it. But Sailor is switching bottles, so I don't know, it's a little controversial. It's a little bit smaller bottle they're switching to, but I like it a lot better. Well, actually, I don't know if I like it, but I'm hoping it works better with nibs. Easier to fill your pen from. Okay, that was a little bit of a ramble. I should not film videos at night. This is a Platinum 3776 with a Shengyo finish. One of those special editions. I see that they have several special editions coming out this year. There's one I really like, but I can't quite convince myself I need that pen because I have a full set of the nibs, except for, like I said, the extra fine or the ultra extra fine. I don't like them. So I won't be buying it, but I think it's pretty to look at. So this is a Platinum 3776 with the coarse nib. The ink in this one is Rohrer and Klingner. Helianthus. That's another ink that really needs a broader nib. Coarse, of course, is a double broad. It needs a... Well, that sounded really weird. Coarse, of course. Wow! Okay, English language, aren't you weird? Sorry. Coarse, C-O-A-R-S-E nib is, of course, C-O-U-R-S-E, a double broad. Which I guess broad can have a couple of meanings too. Wow. Okay, maybe I should start filming these in Chinese or something. Oh, or not at night. This is my Central pen, 100820. Of course, the finish on this is amazing. Here I bring it up out of the good light, but anyway, the finish on it's amazing, but probably its best feature is that incredible nib. I recently did a video on its colleague with the same nib and basically same design. This nib is far better. This nib, it's just like using a paintbrush. It's very different writing experience from any other pen I own. I don't really know how to put it into words very well. You know, do I get good flex from other pens? Maybe better flex? Absolutely. And yet, there's something about this that just... I don't know how to... Yeah, words. Bit of a struggle. And I probably won't have this pen in Pens in Use next week because it will be empty. It just runs through the ink pretty quickly. One pen that I've been using a lot this summer, Pilot Custom 823. Of course, we've got to do this. Somewhere I heard, I don't know if this is true, so correct me if I'm wrong, that Pilot calls their rounded end pens like this the custom, and the ones that are flat-ended, like the 92, they call them custom heritage. Again, I don't know if that's true, but possible. I did notice, I don't have my 92 out today, but I did notice that it is a custom heritage. This is not a custom heritage, so maybe it's true, I don't know. I'm going to do something weird with my last pen. If you recall, my first impression of this pen, I didn't realize that I'd purchased two of them. I just was buying, pretty finish, and then I saw another pretty finish. This one had a very scratchy nib, and I wasn't too thrilled with it. I put a Goulet nib in it for a while, but I saw Bobby, who sells a lot, he's a eBay retailer that Chris Rapp 52 likes a lot. Bobby had an Architect's nib on for sale, and I just have never used an Architect's nib, so I thought I would try it out. I'm guessing Bobby probably grinds his own. Yikes. Okay. So to get the light, I got to come over here. Make of that what you will. You're going to see a review next week with some macro photography, and I'm getting this sudden urge as I say this. I'm going to put some macro photography into the high-resolution writing sample. So I use Evernote at the moment to record my photographs. That's not really a web server, but it's a way to share stuff. So maybe it's time to revive the blog. I don't know. Yes, there used to be a blog that went with this channel, but I let it fall by the wayside. I'll put an A for architect, and the ink in it is Rohrer and Klingner. Blue mare, which means blue horse. No, I'm joking. English language again. Blue mare would mean blue sea. Of course, mare in English, I'm probably mispronouncing it now that I think about it. Mare in English refers to a horse. But suddenly the idea of an ink branded with a blue horse is giving me strange images in my brain. So, Rohrer and Klingner, if you would like to steal that idea, go ahead. It is yours. Yeah, that totally distracted me. Like I said, I should not record at night, but here I am because I had a busy day. And I was going to get in here and do it, and then I was all sweaty and gross, and I just thought, oh, I should take a shower first, but I should do this before I shower because it'll make me sweaty and gross again. And I showered, and it's warm enough in here, I'm getting sweaty and gross anyway. So where is the win? I don't know. Not quite warm enough for me to turn on the air conditioner, but definitely warm. So yeah, summer is finally here. As far as topics, I didn't have a whole lot of exciting stuff. I wanted to mention that this camera that you're seeing me on was originally purchased so I could do macro photography. And this coming week, I'm going to do a review of the Tatung 717. And it probably could have been in pens and use this week. So, here it is. Use that B-roll. But I took some macro photography of it, certain features of it with that camera, and reasonably pleased with how they turned out. I drawing a blank here. Anyway, so you'll see some of that. But I'm thinking, which pen was it? This Architect's nib on the Pen BBS 266. I'm going to try and work some macro photography of that nib into, maybe into the video, but definitely into the high-res thingy. I been doing that on Evernote. Years ago, I had a blog that went with this channel. I'd basically repeat what I said in the video, and then include some pictures that I took with my iPad of the pens. And I got away from doing that. It just was a lot of work, and I didn't feel like there was much reward. I spent more time dealing with spam in the comments there than I did actually interacting with people, so quit doing it. I don't know, maybe if I start doing these photographs, I really don't feel like I want to spend the time putting all this into writing to go along with it, but maybe if I put the video and some photographs, that would be a use for the blog. We'll see. Actually, I don't even remember my URL, so we'll just let that go. But I don't know. I just didn't get the satisfaction out of blogging. And I like to write. It just that blog wasn't doing it for me. In other topics, I'm hopefully going to have a exciting driving video this weekend. We'll see if I get the time to narrate tomorrow. The busy is going to continue tomorrow, but I may force myself. And hey, I don't have to be showered and clean for a driving video. I can be as gross and sweaty as I want. And then the other thing that came up this week, I did a sort of an impromptu video. Again, that busy thing. I was experimenting with my webcam. Here, I'm leaning forward to grab it. So I do have a webcam that I use. I wanted to see how it would do for showing writing and things. I may be involved with a collaboration, but that turning it I can do that through the software I use, Camtasia. I can turn the video 180. In fact, if you ever see the videos where you could see this camera over here, the camcorder, you can see it's filming everything upside down. So I always have to do a 180-degree rotation on every writing sample. But, it's easy. First thing I do when I upload the video. But with the collaboration, I don't think that's available in the software. So I may end up having to do what I used to do when I first started doing these. Not that hand holding the iPad in one hand and writing with the other, but my second generation of reviews when I would straddle the camera to do my writing sample, because the software could have done the 180 rotation. It just didn't occur to me to do it. So, yeah, I'm on generation 3 or 4 or something. But anyway, late night. But anyway, I don't know where I was headed with that. But I wanted to mention one other. Oh, yeah, in that video, before I distracted myself, I brought up about using nail polish, clear nail polish for fixing trim rings. Let me just B-roll here. So, of course, this one is not loose. This is tightly bound. But, I have a few vintage pens with this trim ring loose. And I mentioned the possibility of using nail polish to reattach them. And I think with some pens that would work. But what I wasn't thinking about right at that moment, nail polish has a solvent in it that's not water-based and will actually attack plastic. May even cause certain plastics to do an exciting chemical reaction, way beyond just softening the plastic, but actually possibly lighting it on fire. So, it was pointed out to me that, not such a good idea, and that's true. So, being me, I couldn't just leave that alone. I was like, well, where did I get this dumb idea from? So I did a little research. I don't know really where I picked up the idea, but I found out there is actually a history of clear nail polish and fountain pens. Now, it's not over here, so use your imagination. I want you to pretend I'm doing B-roll footage right now, showing you a vintage pen with a sack in it. I typically don't use anything to attach the sacks. I just put them on and friction fit them and use... hope that they don't get jarred loose in the pen's life. But there are a lot of pen restorers who will use sack shellac to attach the sack to the pen. The nice thing with that is you can use a little bit of heat and it'll soften, and then they can remove an old sack, which I guess if you keep the pen long enough, you'll have to resack it eventually. I don't. Why? Okay, I don't know, but I don't. But there was a book by, do I have his name here? I do not. I will put it in the video description. In fact, I'll put a few links in the video description. Let me get to the right one here. I got a zillion different things open. There we go. Frank Dubiel, maybe mispronouncing that, I-E-L. Apparently his book suggested using nail polish to attach sacks to the pen. Now, besides the solvent thing, the other issue with that, nail polish, no, I don't use it, but it's designed not to be permanent, and eventually it'll start to craze or flake off. And if it does last really well, it doesn't soften under heat like sack shellac would. But I'm wondering if that's where I got the idea of clear nail polish. So anyway, if you were eager to go fix your loose trim ring with nail polish, do not do that. I did have the suggestion of using glue, wood glue, which basically dries clear. So I may try that. Not a lot of it because it's awkward and hard to clean up, but I'll try that. And the nice thing there is it's water soluble, so don't get your cap wet, but if you really screw up, you can clean it off. So anyway, I want to thank late night again. I don't remember who made that comment. Somebody made that comment. So thank you for that. It was interesting to see the history of nail polish in fountain pens, and thank God I didn't actually try it yet. So I don't have to look for clear nail polish anymore. So, wood glue I have. I also discovered an old thread on Fountain Pen Network. This has come up for me before. It was 2016 thread about a Platinum 3776, the koi finish one, had a loose trim ring when I bought it. Now that does not seem to be an issue anymore. I have not had trouble with that. But I never followed up on that thread and said, thank you, here's what I tried. Well, the answer was I tried nothing. I just thought, well, I'll just be careful with the pen. And, I don't know if the celluloid in that pen has shrunk or expanded since then, or the trim ring has shrunk or expanded, but nothing's loose anymore. So I'm happy. Didn't have to go to Platinum for warranty, didn't have to try and contact the original retailer, who was Japanese, so I was kind of scared to do that. Just all worked out naturally, but I think that shows why some people prefer to buy from a known retailer, because then the customer service is a lot easier. When it's a retailer from Japan who you purchase through Amazon, sometimes a little harder to contact them. So happy about that. Everything worked out. And I haven't caught any pens on fire using nail polish, which, by the way, was not recommended in that thread. So anyway, that was a long ramble to wherever it headed. But I want to thank you for watching. And if videos like this interest you, where I talk about fountain pens both new and old and at all price points, I would invite you to subscribe. And hey, do you like watching me ramble late at night? I prefer to film these in the morning because I make more sense then. But I'll edit this together and go to bed. So sorry it's late, but here it is. So maybe you want to comment on the trim ring. Maybe you'd want to comment on whatever else I rambled about, because wow, did I go all over. Or maybe you want to tell me to always record at night, because I don't have the self-control at night. So, yeah. So leave a comment down below, whatever you want to comment on. So I want to thank you for watching. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.